Welcome back to the Wild Rose Moon's Moonlight series, a series that showcases the talent that surrounds us all. Tonight we have Billy Easton here, from hailing from Goshen now, huh?
I'm from South Bend, Indiana originally, but I do reside in Goshen.
All right. Um, Tonight we're going to delve into the world of hip hop. It's a little bit different for us, but I'm looking forward to getting into it because I don't have anybody really to talk to about hip hop.
Man.
I like hip hop. I love it,
Right,
man.
right.
And, so I'm pretty excited about tonight to discuss it with you.
That's cool.
So, you've been performing. Well, everybody's been on a break because of
Right.
COVID. Everybody's been on a break. But before that, you had at least a couple groups you performed with.
Yeah. As far as I've always been kind of a solo hip hop artist. I found myself playing with a couple guys who played jazz in a jazz ensemble about 10 years ago, and we formed a trio called The Beat, and it turned into kind of a hybrid jazz, hip hop,
Oh wow!
rock kind of progressive kind of situation, and it put us in a lot of situations where I'm comfortable in, like you say, this is folk, and you guys may not have had hip hop, but because of that band, I've been around, like I've shared the stage with folk bands and
Awesome.
bluegrass bands and stuff. So, but that was due to the nature of our band, because
Yeah.
it was so broad. But after we kind of parted ways, I started another band with another local artist named Josh Dugan, who's well known in the city. She's a pianist and vocalist, and me and her were just doing gigs together. And then we got her drummer Randy Rager, and a couple more musicians, and we formed Bad Assets.
Yeah.
And we had a good couple years running, and that's still kind of like we got kind of like a musician brotherhood. Like that's still something that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I haven't really spoke to them in a while, so I'm speaking on it. They're going to see this now, so I gotta
Maybe get
disclaimer. Like we really close. Like I spoke to her the other day, but right now for me personally, I'm looking to get back on the stage, and I like working with musicians, multiple musicians and stuff.
So you like a live instrument element.
I do more
Awesome,
than
awesome.
anything, for sure.
Cool. That's kind of leads into some multiple questions I have, but I want to ask you about influences and some important artists that maybe they're not necessarily the same thing, but you know what got you into what you're doing.
Well, what got me into it's a long answer, but I always had a knack for writing.
Mm-hmm.
So like I remember in fifth grade writing a biography, like this autobiography, and the teacher said it was so good she didn't believe I wrote it because I was always in trouble. I was a troublemaker, and I didn't really,
Yeah.
but I had a knack for writing, very I was really good, and I always had a knack for words and stuff. But that incident made me think about it because I was upset, but I was like, is it that good?
Right. Yeah.
Because my mom's not a writer. That's not her strong hand, and or any of my parents. So I was like, man, it's that good. And from that point, from that autobiography, I used to write. I used to just write and see what she's talking about. What does she mean? And I would just sit and just kind of write lines. And then eventually that turned into, I was born in the 80s, so I grew up when hip hop was born, when it was born. I'm like its child for real. So so I used to like doodle with words,
Okay.
And when I was around 6 or 7, my mom took me in Saginaw, Michigan. We used to live in Flint, Michigan. I grew up my first part in Flint, Michigan, before South Bend, and my mom took me to a hip hop show. It was the Fat Boys, Salt and Pepper, Special Ed,
Man.
a lot of the guys that's really started it, like that really was even going on now, is just just the chains was maybe a little bit bigger and they're making more money
Right,
now.
because even the Fat Boys were there, man. They were an integral part of kicking it off and getting it kind of more of a broader appeal. Because I had Fat Boys tapes. Watched
they were amazing. Disorderlies,
movie.
like they started all that. The rappers with movies and stuff that
Yeah.
So I seen that as a kid, and I was standing up, and I never sat down, and I was like, I want to do that, kind of. And that's
awesome.
that's a classic story you hear from rappers and artists. But I was also working with my pen at a young age too, and just writing, and it just. But I never really told anyone. I was writing from a very early age, but I never told anyone my raps until actually I got around maybe my junior year in high school.
Yeah.
Almost senior year, actually. I was very kind of shy with that.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know unless
in the beginning
you break that barrier and say, look at this, or
yeah. And I was talking about different stuff. Yep, at that time. Wow. But that was my cocoon stage.
Awesome. I'll just touch on it quickly. I played for a long time by myself, and I went into a pawn shop and picked up a guitar and played, and grabbed another one and played, and the guy that's around the pawn shop said, hey, why don't you play this guitar? So I kept playing, and he said, come to this acoustic open mic. I was like, I don't really play acoustic. He's like, just come on. So I went there, and I played. That's the first time I played in front of anybody. And I sang, but nobody knew it. And then one guy says, you sing? I was like, yeah. He goes, next week you got to sing. So next week I started playing my instrumental stuff, and he comes up, he goes, you told me you were going to sing, so sing. So this is up South Bend at the Wander Inn.
The Wander Inn.
I was like, okay. Wow. So I sang my first song in front of anybody, and I got a good response, man. That's I'm like, okay, I do know.
You need that reinforcement. Yeah.
It turns out I can sing. So as far as performing, is there anything you want to do tonight?
If you want to do a little freestyle or whatnot, like if you want to play something, and then I'll just, I'll freestyle, come off the top or something.
That sounds like something needs to happen.
Yeah.
All right,
we can do that. I'm a little rusty though. I gotta warn you, like COVID took me out a little bit, but
All right, man. Well, hopefully
it's like riding a bike though, right?
I'll play something that's worthy, and we'll see what happens here.
All right. Yeah. I'm not the one to blame or shame her. The song sound like Seinfeld, and I'm the Black Kramer. I'm the aimer. I'm the one to go in the lion's den and tame her. Yeah. And change her, but when she look in the mirror, it's the same her. Yeah. Talking about the goddess is obvious. Everybody want to change sides. Everywhere you go, there's a lobbyist. Yeah. My hobby is eating veggies and feeling good. And yes, I'm from the hood. But don't stereotype tonight, right? Yeah. They talking about his folklore. I'm telling them right now that I know for sure. Yeah. Wild as the rose, I told them, we gonna be doing shows just like the pros. Yeah. They all wanna be famous and tote around the stainless. All I see is the same strangeness. Yep. Just warming up. Sometimes it takes time for these words forming up. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people probably hopefully tuning in that may not listen to hip hop at all. You know what I mean? So I think hip hop is pretty much the most popular music in the world right now. So who's not listening to it? You know what I mean? Because if it's top of the charts, it's all over the place. But there's a lot of people that just don't listen, and want to kind of think who that may be and why they're not checking it out. Any ideas on that?
not to sound like Captain Obvious, but there's always gonna be people who have their own preference.
Yeah.
But hip hop and like music and like the genres, they blend so much that there's country artists that are rapping. Like if you follow their cadence and the metaphors, all of the linguistics and the same characteristics that you will find that what a rapper would use, the same skill set, you will see like country artists doing it. So it's like,
Yeah.
everyone's kind of listening to it, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, hip hop is like it's like the nursery rhyme for adults, you know, like the art of rhyming and poetry has always been extremely powerful. Like you got music, singing and music and the voice and and sound has always been powerful, but with hip hop, you add like that element of poetry, which is the metaphor and the story, and the power of the metaphor is extremely powerful. That's where the myth, that's why we watch movies, like the archetype, and to put that in rhythmic, there's a science to that we probably don't understand.
That's definitely something I wanted to touch on. And from watching a lot of people on YouTube, I got my eyes opened a lot on about what makes some of it good. And I think what a lot of people don't get is the poetry aspect of it, the storyteller aspect of it, and how difficult it is to actually put however many lines together that not only rhyme or imply rhymes, have similar rhythmic appeal, and it tells a story.
For sure.
And that's something, I mean, for someone who does it, that's to explain why, you know, like why is it difficult? Because a lot of people, they may dismiss it as, well, they're just saying words, but it's not that easy.
And I watched for the first time. I watched West Side Story in my music theater class because I never seen it fully because it's kind of predates hip hop, but that's hip hop. Like that was like it just came through that specific portal in the urban neighborhood, but yeah, it's like it's interesting, you know. It's like,
so was that was kind of pre Grandmaster Flash and
what, the West Side Story?
Yeah.
It was like that, and then hip hop and stuff came out. It was like astonishing to me because I know the references from West Side Story and I've seen the clips, but I never sat down and then with a professor right there, like narrating as I'm watching it, and I was like, what? This was way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This is hip hop. So I think hip hop embodies it embodies the human spirit, you know, and it comes from a place where the underdogs and the less fortunate, and everybody wants to see the less fortunate win because a part of us always, we feel like that anyway. We want to win because we've had it rough. So.
All right. On another note, touching on, you know, how difficult it is to write and do something that is complicated, be it fun to kind of hear. There's something that comes up about rap, and some people call it like rap. Like you can rap and make a song that's popular, but then there's people that can like rap that really, I guess you want to, like they're the really good guys. They're not just like I don't know that's how I keep hearing it described. You know, artists who can rap versus rap artists. You know, is that
you got like Edgar Allan Poe, and then you got like I don't even know who I can even compare him with, but you got something on a lower tier. It's still poetry, but it maybe just feel more like an emotional rant, but don't got all the intelligentsia and the depth and you know, it's not as deep as some other poets, you know. But really what makes it difficult with artists, like what we're talking about right now, because we kind of like the industry, and when you start making money and you put in it, it like separates. It's like separates what it has the ability, we know that, to separate the artist or what we define a true artist from just getting paid to do something.
Yeah.
And But yeah, there are rappers that they're not as technical. They're more fundamental. Just like some basketball players, just the same fundamental. You know, they can't. You know, they only gonna do the 1, 2, 3, 4 fundamentals.
Yeah.
But there's some rappers that's like Jordan. They might dunk from the free throw line. You never know what's gonna happen or what's coming. They might,
Right.
you know, behind the back. You know, like things that you never seen before, or heard or seen it
Yeah.
quite like that. You know, so
Right. All right. So that kind of takes me into the next thing. There's some things I've got into, you know, throughout the '90s. There's kind of you had NWA and Snoop Dogg and Dre were huge, insanely huge, and they just blew up across the country. And I listened to them, and now you got kind of mainstream stuff, which like Nicki Minaj. Megan Thee Stallion's really popular. Eminem he's been popular for decades.
been doing your research, huh?
Oh yeah, man, I love it. The underground stuff where you get like Aesop Rock, MF Doom,
Rest in peace.
definitely. Run the Jewels, just to name a few. Then your technical guys, which kind of I think overlap in underground. It seems like with MF Doom, Eminem though he's part of that really technical aspect. Busta Rhymes is way underrated as far as I'm concerned. But is anybody who you think should be kind of notated as somebody to look at and check out?
Some of my favorite rappers that influence me that I think they are some of these guys I'm finna name are like I said, Edgar Allan Poe. Like these like are my Dead Poet Society, because they take the art of the metaphor and the ability to like convey imagery and play with various cadences to a whole nother level. And anyhow, AZ is a rapper named AZ. He was famous with a song called Life's
Right.
with Nas back in the 90s.
Right.
But I actually I learned a lot from him, and I learned how to make every, like, you know how you can rap and I can say, I'm walking to the house, I went across the street, I had a mouse.
Right.
Now I'm on the couch. Now every word at the end rhyme.
Yeah.
This guy can make so that each line, oh, this word, this word, this word, and then this word, and this word, and this word rhyme. That's a different
Right.
feel when all of them rhyming like that. Your mind is,
And that was AZ.
AZ.
And Rakim's he's a big.
Rakim, same.
Yeah.
He's a master of that too. Same. He's like the grandfather. So guys like that, I was always intrigued by, because you start to get into what they call double entendres, where there's multiple metaphors, and when the mind can do that, when you're in that state, for me, that's actually why I write.
Awesome.
I just happen to, the world has set it up for me to rap and stuff, but that moment, like experience, like in the writing process, however that occurs in my mind, that's what I'll be looking for. And then if I can share that, then that's even more.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a double entendre. A lot of people know what double entendre means. Sounds like one thing, means another. And now, what you're talking about is an artistry that I don't think a lot of people would apply to rap. Because a lot of people just don't know. But like these guys that do doubles and triples, they're saying one thing, which is probably true, and it's also meaning another thing, which is probably true, and it alludes to another thing that if you don't know the history with the guys or with members of the group or whatever, you may not understand it.
And the references, for sure.
Yeah.
But see, here's another thing, a point before I lose it, like, because you're talking about guys that maybe not as technical. Some of the benefits of what we're talking about, guys that spend more time being technical and like really just being a true poet and spending time on their craft, like in hip hop right now, is a big ordeal with like you're a gang and you rapping, but that you can't separate the violence from the actual, right? So, but when you spend your time like on the metaphor, the whole thing is to teach you like the nature of this reality. I'm showing you with these words that it's it's not as serious as it is. Like using the metaphor in a way to like how it was originally used. Like we enjoyed the punchline.
Yeah.
If the punchline is real and you really and that's really happening,
Yeah.
I'd be starting to question now, what am I listening to?
All right.
Anyhow, I just kind of went off on a tangent, but
No,
that's one of the reasons that's kind of a big rabbit hole, but I believe that's one of the reasons why people even bring up like, well, there's this kind of rapper and then there's this kind of rapper. Yeah.
I was watching an interview with Jay-Z and David Letterman, and Letterman alluded to, well, these guys are living these violent lives. They're always talking about this and that, and Jay-Z's like, nah, it's not real. And it's a thing that you listen to and you think, this is the life these guys are living. Then he's like, well, most of it's just ideas or stories or their concepts, you know.
Right.
And,
but it was more like that. And now where we're at now, it's a little different. But originally it was more like that. Like it's kind of going to be violence. But now they've lost the metaphor.
Yeah.
Or its value in some aspects. I don't want to put that all on hip hop because I traveled in a band and I got to see a lot of like music is bigger than just the screen. I mean, the screen is allowing us to see that more and more now, but it's a lot of music and it's a lot of people who do very well, and you know, hip hop just isn't that most popular thing in the moment. Right. It's actually all the things that you don't see that allow that popular thing to pop up at any minute because it's popular, right? It pops up.
Right.
Where does it pop out of? It pops out of all of the supporting units that exist that make up the collective. So, you know, hip hop is not just that popular thing, but fortunately, unfortunately, you know, people will get to benefit off that, you know.
Right. Yes.
We have a question. We have a question from the audience.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
What
Jim Ward wants to know, Billy, when you perform live, do you have a set list that you stick to, or is it more spontaneous, or is it a combination of both?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination, and it kind of depends on the nature of the show, the event. Like if it's something that's pretty, we got a lot of chips in and a lot in this upscale, and you know, I know the venue and the theme of the night. It may be safe to, and we may not be known. It may be safe to have something to cater to that event, but you know, sometimes that's not convenient, and you got to go on the fly just because you might have to tear your set list up because wait a minute, this ain't gonna work right here. You got to switch it around. So, especially when you're like a traveling, self-sufficient band. You know, it's always a lot of, you know, moving things around and changing things. But ideally, you do want to roll with a solid set because it just builds everything. You do want to have a solid set you're constantly building around, though.
Right, cool. Improvising was always kind of welcome, though. I mean, if you're performing with a jazz artist,
totally, and we totally.
And something just clicks. You're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how you kind of find out stuff too. You can't if you're too mechanical, you lose your mind. You have to have some space for some light to come in.
Awesome. Let's talk about instrumentation, which we touched on with instrumentation. Now I've liked. I grew up in the 80s too, and for a lot of people, my introduction to it was LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, the whole Def Jam kind of lineup, and that was samples from music we had heard, but we didn't know what we were listening to. Beastie Boys had a lot of Led Zeppelin on their first album, and then it went to that was kind of the status quo for a long time, and then you know then they started making beats with the D8, the drum machine, which took away from samples. They started making beats, and then a lot of people not now, but I guess in the 90s, Spearhead is one I saw. It was a full live band on stage, you know, and it was an awesome thing. So have you used any kind of loops or samples like that, or was it always just a prefer to kind of do a live thing, live band?
Well, in the beat, Eli, he played a 7-string guitar, but he had a rig with multiple loops.
Oh,
And so we had that was kind of part of the sound. Is really unique because he was able to, create multiple loops upon loops, and he had a really interesting rig. So
awesome.
yeah, definitely.
Man, so, but you ever do any battles, anything like that, against anybody else? Just
I was asked to do some battles, but that was never my thing, and that time kind of passed for me. But the battle was never my thing. I really like making songs, but I definitely had some diss songs thrown my way for sure over the years.
yeah, diss songs thrown your way,
Mm-hmm.
like
From other rappers.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
nothing back at them though, huh?
Yeah, I said
Oh, right
definitely
on.
send the back shit. Yeah, came right back.
Heck yeah, man. Why not?
They probably sent their mail and opened the door, and their mail was right there. Like, whoa, what the? Yeah, it came right back, and nobody came back after.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna wrap up this segment of the show.
Mhm.
We'll take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll be back with Billy Easton. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Maybe it seems like a deep dark night, but follow me outside into the moonlight. Moonlight.
Welcome back to the Wild Rose Moon's Moonlight series, the second part of the series featuring Billy Easton. We're in proper form now. We got John Bahler backing us. So tonight we got Billy's here to share his experiences with hip hop, growing up in South Bend, and step on with me out into the moonlight. Here we go. All right, Billy, we're back. Here we are. So, you mentioned over the break that you haven't really performed anything in over a year.
Yeah. Besides in the comfort of my own home, and yeah.
So, COVID obviously put a halt on some things.
Yep. And I didn't really get into the streaming or whatnot. I spent that time doing a lot of kung fu.
Yeah.
And playing with my toddler.
Was that something going on at the same time? Is your toddler learning kung fu?
Yep. It's all
Starting young.
kind of one thing. Yep, for sure.
Awesome. I do want to talk about Goshen College. Is that where you're? I'm sorry.
I live in Goshen.
You live in Goshen,
Right.
but you work with some. You ended up working with some kids at school.
Yeah, so I work at Goshen College, and I've been there for a few years. I'm also been studying their music and writing there too as well. And they have a large international program, so it's a lot of international students. It's like it might be 70% international and athletes there at Goshen. So in the summer, I'll have a crew of students, and they're typically international students because they're here because it's more difficult to leave when you're international. So a lot of my summer staff is international students. And it's interesting because it's like during COVID, I'm thinking like, man, ain't gonna be no music. I'm gonna be just me.
Yeah.
And come to find out, you know, there's a Brazilian kid who plays the guitar, and then there's an Indonesian gal who plays classical piano since age 5, and then there's this girl from India who plays the violin, the guitar, and the piano, and and a few others, and
Just bringing the talent.
yeah. So we got to they would come by, and you know, we play music, and that was kind of my gift, I guess, from the universe, I guess,
That's
through
awesome.
through COVID.
So, what'd you guys do? Just get together, kind of improvise stuff, or they'd show you things, and you could.
The main really it was me and the Brazilian kid, me and Enrique. He's from Brazil. He plays soccer for Goshen, but he's an amazing guitarist, and he loves that guitar like he's gonna put a ring on it one day. And coming from Brazil and just seeing like he's always had that guitar and like his passion for it. But me and him, we wrote some songs together. Actually, I don't know what we're gonna do with it. You know, like when you musicians, I got tons of material, you know.
Yeah.
But we wrote some songs, but him in particular, and if it works out right, he's got a duo with another student who's from Indianapolis. I think she's just graduating, but they have a duo which is kind of a Congo R&B pop kind of folkish too, because he's like yeah, it's really interesting. You guys may be able to witness that, you know, in the future or whatnot. But yeah, that was my extent over the COVID. I got to the world came to me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's an awesome way to look at it. Cool. Let's see. I mentioned, you know, rap influences, but I think you'd probably have more varied influences than what I'm thinking. You mentioned some Edgar Allan Poe and poetry in general. Is there anything else, any other musical styles that you draw from?
In all honesty, this is kind of strange. As much as I'm a rapper, I've been rapping for really since I was a kid. I don't listen to a lot of rap, and I kind of never did. But at certain time periods when I was younger, I did quite a bit. But I only listened to specific rappers that I had liked. But I never, as a whole, as a genre, as far as music, I already rap. Like my mind, since a young boy is just rhymes.
Yeah.
So I'm more accustomed, actually. I'm never playing rap. When I play rap to myself when I'm like working out maybe, but it's always usually like I like Sade. She's like my favorite artist of all time because I love jazz, but I love her voice, and I like to hear a woman singing, and I think because I rap a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I think I like that contrast. So I try to find that. But I love Sade because she's a poet. And her lyrics are amazing to me. You can just read them and just be dumbfounded, you know, off of very simple lines, you know.
You know, I know what music I've heard of hers. It is beautiful, stunning. And I never even got to the lyrical aspect of it. Like what you're talking about, even that's another deeper kind of layer into it. But funny.
You know, the only reason I got into her lyrics is because I had her, what was that album? I forget, Someday or some I don't know, but it had the lyrics in it. And I was reading a song that was touching to me, and then I was reading the lyrics, and I was like, damn, this is deep. It hit me like a slow bullet.
She knows me.
Yeah, it's like I came in like a lamb, but I left like a lion.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, dang, but when you read, you know, when you read the print, it does something different to the mind. That's why you should never not read. And you should read something physical too sometime, not just digital.
Yeah.
It's very important to have that physical connection.
Whenever I got a new tape cassette, date myself a little bit, I was always opening the notes, hoping there's lyrics in there, wanting to read about what they're talking about.
They used to do that a lot. Ain't none of that. Remember, you read the lyrics, and something happens when you like, that's exactly what they said.
I talk to my friends like, oh, you hear when you say that? They're like, what? You read the liner notes? Like, yeah, dude. There's so much information in there about the artist you're listening to. We touched a little bit on styles and technicality and stuff. And, I mean, what you got cadence and alliteration and internal rhyme schemes and stuff like that. If you're writing down lyrics, are you thinking about that? Or do you just kind of what happens, happens? Or do you have like a plan?
I'm kind of, like I said, can't speak for other, like, obviously I'm speaking for me, but so, like, if I'm writing a song, I want to hear the music in the background because I'm feeling it. It's telling me what to say. It's giving me its cadence. That's just how I've learned to, and I'm going to tailor every word and every feeling to the song, but a lot of times those lyrics may not even go to that song, but it did help me produce some great material, and it might go to something else.
Yeah.
But I like that because I form a relationship with the music, and I like to have that when I'm writing. Now, there's an aspect of me like the Robert Frost, the Langston Hughes, like silence, and I just want whatever to come out, and I like that state because that's not the state that you market. It's just whatever come out. When I'm writing a song, regardless of how pure I want to be, I know it's still like a product. So my mind is still thinking about people and thinking about what I'm saying. But when I go to just silence and write, it's like then I can learn something because I ain't just talking to people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now I'm finna like, it might be a message in here for me. So, but you know, that's why I'm really into poets, because I believe they tap into something other than just like, man, let me make this fast buck. That's something different.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Well, so you want to try another jam?
Yeah.
Freestyle.
Disclaimer: thing? I'm still rusty. I used to.
We're both improvising here because we didn't plan anything. Be a bass, or I can keep my guitar. I mean, whichever way.
You gonna play with us too?
Yeah, let me know what's going on.
We don't know, John.
You don't know. You don't know the announcements. You can't play with us.
All right, I'll start vamping on something here, and we'll see what happens. So this is improv, folks. Got me up.
Yeah. 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 I'm sure like the sand in the dune fight at night, standing under moonlight, blessing everything around me, gazoon tight. Hopefully it won't be a noon fight. They think it's the Wild Wild West. I'm trying to stay abreast. Like I was frying chicken, finger licking good, delicious. Still, hopefully I don't get a ticket. I try to click it and ride, but it's difficult in these times to abide when every day there's a different tide. I keep my third eye wide, and I'm careful for all the pride inside. Truthfully, most of it all died. I tried, that didn't work, I surrendered. Put all my thoughts in a blender. Splendor. I was young and tender. Every day it's like they always talking about gender. I think there's an agenda. Yeah. I only search for the divine. I heard you can find it in juice on the vine, right? Water the wine. Damn. Electrodes in my spine. To my brain. In the middle. It's a riddle. They used to say that I was little. That was cool though. Now it got me barking like Cujo. Top dog. Yeah. Anybody say something, it should mean something. You shouldn't talk about gossip if you never seen something. Man. Yeah. Yeah. When I was a kid, they taught me about shapes. I was feeling great. I was like 8. I didn't even know how to open out the gate. I used to jump the fence. In my defense, everything around my surroundings was tense. Everywhere I went, I never left any prints. Yeah, I was a youngin' walking around town like, man, crying, no onions. Yeah. Sometimes you get lost and you just, something pop up and you just grab it.
That's cool, man.
Onions.
Just create some art out of nothing, out of thin air. That's cool. I had fun.
You know, I perfected, I don't want to say perfect, like I learned how to freestyle with the band playing. That's why I love live instruments. Because, see, when you have a recording track, you can't stop and talk to the crowd. You got to keep going, and you know. But with the band, it's like there's so much room that you have to improvise. At least for me, like I have to improvise. You know, so it put me out there so much. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, that allows you if you catch something your bass player, your drummer's doing, you can and they can go off on that route, or you know they might hear something you do and take you another direction. That's a cool thing about I like improvising with people like that
For sure.
because you can. It's such a free thing, and you learn a lot
Mm-hmm.
when you improvise with people, whether you know them or not. Well, let's see, man. Cadence. We talk about cadence, alliteration. Cadence and alliteration. Cadence is kind of what your just delivery.
Yeah, delivery. I think I gotta like I love all type of music, but like I'm very like right now I'm just freestyling, but if you were to hear some of my stuff, like I can be very technical at times.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that. I like it's like a Tetris set. Like the idea that
That's a cool.
yeah, like
Yeah.
building like Tetris and like playing with the words and like metaphors and imagery and like to feel it and to see it, you know, like that's extremely important. Especially for rap, because like a singer, their talent is in how they sound, their voice, you know, but a rapper, they talent from the original school was in, you know, how you were saying it. And if you
Bars.
and if you look at the original rappers, they were very distinctive. You knew their voice.
Yeah,
You knew you knew, like now, if any of you guys go put on the radio and they will sound the same to you. You would be like,
Right.
I don't know who that is. It could be the same guy. But you knew when you heard Snoop Dogg, if you heard Tupac, if you heard Big Daddy Kane, you knew, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of missing too right now, which is kind of
I mean, there's
gloomy
people
to me.
sitting here that would know what Snoop Dogg sounded like,
exactly.
whether they intend to or not, but it's there. But I kind of feel you with sound old, but the new stuff.
It's the thing is, it sounds good. I'm not gonna lie. Like the new stuff has got some great. It's still a progression of it, but it and it's not all of it. It's just
Yeah.
some of the stuff that's in your. It's in your, if it wasn't in your face like it is, I don't think you might not had a conversation. But it seems to be sitting on the throne of hip hop right now, and it's just
It's definitely an
interesting.
industry push of certain
yeah.
styles as opposed to.
But that's with all music now, though. It's not like that's where every genre now is kind of in that we don't know what we in.
It is a crazy time.
Be real
'cause,
we don't know what we in. We in something right now, though.
you know, the information was there, but with the pandemic, or like you mentioned before, everybody shut down, and you start either getting into things on your own, you start watching YouTube or whatever, and you realize that, man, there are millions and millions of kids that are way better at guitar than I am, all over the world. And there's
That's
people that
another
can
thing,
rap
too.
that are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool because you can find out all this stuff, but it's also like,
Right.
damn, it's not just me or just that guy. There's
Right, and
There's
that
a
wasn't
lot of
like that
talent.
before. And
Yeah.
people are developing faster than ever in different things. And I think this also is a kind of this time period is kind of a birthing ground. Like it's probably going to be another golden era coming up here in the next I don't know how many decades, but
Yeah.
I think it's the birthing ground of because the kids are extremely advanced and doing things faster. Everyone, like no matter who you are, like things are kind of
Yeah, the
tripling as far as how quick you can learn something and then
yeah, everybody has all the
get
information
results from it.
they could ever want in their hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got a question about something, you can know the answer without waiting for somebody to tell you. You can seek it out.
Ask Google.
Right.
We had a question come in from one of our viewers. Just wanting to know about hip hop and the creative process. Do you see hip hop as like a language of dreams and imagination, a language of hope?
Oh yeah, I was dreaming. Without question, that like dream symbology, like the whole like the whole power of what the metaphor could do, like for me and my journey, you can heal yourself from trauma by understanding the metaphor, because a lot of the trauma that's in the psyche is just a metaphor of what you thought happened, but not a complete, accurate, fundamental, aware, actual thing that you know about yourself.
Wow.
So
Shit.
if it's that powerful, like I'm dead serious about like the metaphor, like this whole thing is based on what we learn from from what we can learn from like what the metaphor is and what it means. That's why people get in an argument. They don't know what the other person meant. That's why it's so powerful. That's why it can do what. That's why it's doing what it does. That's why writing and books and it's all based in those concepts. I don't know the secrets to it, what it is. I just feel like it should be given more importance than to
Right.
packaged.
During the break, you were involved with a conversation with another person here about how poetry is a lot more widespread and ingrained into things than a lot of people may realize, like as far as different aspects of art and how you can apply it to multiple kind of, what you mentioned, Hollywood and stuff like that, kind of the artistry and the writing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I mean, people, like you were saying, like we're talking about poetry, we read poetry and then we get a profound understanding of something, or you can have a transformative effect on you, like just by sitting there and reading it, and you can kind of like, so I just think that that's important power, and it's not, I mean, it's so powerful that a kid can make $1 gazillion and travel the world for 20 years and make $1 billion because there's things around it that packages it in a certain way to do the very fundamental thing that we're talking about. Like, it has that power. If it can sell, it's all energetics. If it can sell all these units, which is a unit is a measurement of energy. If it can move all these units around and change and have all this stuff going on in the world, then what is its real power? Like, what's its real power? You know, I feel like it deserves, especially with hip hop, it deserves a deeper approach. I don't think it's fair to just like, man, I don't want to say too much, but the way we go about it, like we talking about hip hop, but we talking about how powerful it is. It's all over the world. It blew up. I was in the Navy. I traveled the world. It's big. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And not just hip hop, but American music is #1 everywhere in the world, like everywhere. And different time periods. You can go, I was in Pago Pago, the Samoan Islands, and as soon as I got there, all they listened to was the 60s and the 70s. Like it's brand, like it's spanking new.
Oh, right. They're like just getting into it.
Like it's spanking new. I was like, why y'all playing Aretha Franklin up in here? I'm at the airport. He was like, oh, bro, that's all we listen to out here. You know, that's all they listen to. It's just, you know, but the power of the metaphor, you know, the word, the written word, in the beginning, the word. what's going on in the world right now? Why is all the problems going on in the world right now? Not specifically because different groups, but because everybody is getting a chance to understand what freedom of speech is and the responsibility that comes with it. You don't
and
just get to say what you
repercussions
want
from-
without responsibility. You have to learn what it is. We do not know what it is. It's not just getting to talk.
Right.
And like the metaphor, the power of the metaphor.
Wow, man. Wow. Well, I don't know what we say after that. John, you got
I'm
anything?
sorry, I've been
No, that's good. It's
I've
really
been a
good.
hermit sitting in y'all rub the genie lamp. I've been just really away. I haven't been anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm serious, for almost over a year. I go to work, I live where I work, take care of my kids, and I write, but I haven't been out, so this is
I'm glad we could help you
surreal.
out, man. Get you back
Thank
out
you.
into the world.
forgot there were people.
That's what we want to hear, man. Where stuff's coming from. I think it's more important than people realize too. And even, gosh, I don't know, like the writing aspect of it. It's in rock. I've watched rappers listen to metal and they're like, oh, Metallica's got bars. It's like, somebody's always saying something, Some people are saying ridiculous things, and some people, the style of music may obscure what their point is.
Right.
And that happens a lot. But
Isn't it interesting that you could take all the genres of music, all of them, from death metal to hip hop to bluegrass, any of them, and nobody. This is a soft analogy, but people don't really challenge what people say in music. But if you go out and say something right now, but people don't really challenge that. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I don't even know. That's interesting to me.
some people blindly listen to music. I think is where it kind of might be getting at. Sometimes, as I know, I've heard some songs I've been listening to for decades, and I sit down one day and listen to the words. I'm like, that's horrible.
Right.
I don't want to listen to it anymore.
But I think it's a freedom that we respect when it comes to music, when somebody's sharing something, whether good or bad. And I think however that works or that happens, that's the harmony is missing between individuals to be able to communicate back and forth like that. And I think that's why we cling on to music so much, because it gives us that ability to process, anything, whatever, in the moment.
So, you thinking to try and find some other people to play music with again? Hook up with some.
I got some ideas. I want to do some stuff with Bad Assets here, but I got a personal project that I'm working on that I want to complete. I've done a lot of stuff with bands and stuff, but I got a personal project that I want to complete that I want to be a live band behind it. So it could be something new that may come out. And also I got a 15-year-old son, and he's been rapping and writing too. Cool. So it'll be interesting to see. That's something new for me too. So
Does he look at more of what's going on in the world of hip hop and draw from that, as opposed to where you draw for more internally? And
well, he since he's young, he's definitely gonna get it from his peers and what he sees, like me. But growing up around me, and he's seen me perform since he was a kid, and I'm always rapping and around them, and so I think he got kind of a broad perspective, probably broader than he understands right now.
Yeah,
but he does have a natural gift for words and stuff, and putting things together. But yeah, it's probably a blend. I'm in there trying to give him some balance.
that's cool. You ever surprise you with what he comes up with sometimes?
Yeah, he brought me to tears one time because
wow.
he sent me something, because he just started. I never push anything on him. They do what who they want to become. But he sent me something, and it sounded so good. And then I was hearing the schemes, and I was thinking about when I was a kid, and I got teary-eyed, and and when this is my firstborn, when they get older and they cross certain thresholds and stuff, it's like, dang, he's a teenage boy, wow. I still feel young, and but he make me feel older.
That's what made you cry.
Oh, it's like, you made me old, son. No.
Well, we did
awesome,
have a comment, just someone that wanted to express they were happy to hear you're doing some performing for us here, at least, and hopefully that
Word.
you'll be able to do more of it. Maybe a little more tonight, but also just maybe you can get some of these other projects off the ground. So
For
just some
sure.
encouragement to keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, I needed that for sure.
Yeah. For your past music, where can we find some of it to check out?
You can go to I do have a website. I'm not gonna lie, it's not up right now. It's northernloreentertainment.com, but you can go to SoundClick, Billy not SoundClick, I'm sorry, SoundCloud. If Billy East, Billy .. East. If you just Google search that, you can find some stuff, and it's linked to all my other everything. The few places I am, you can find me.
Cool. Awesome, man. I have no idea how much time we have. 8:25. Well, you want to try and jam a little more? You up for it?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Is A good key for you? Because that's what I keep playing.
I've been around musicians for so long, I stay away from the equations. I don't do equations. I don't do equations, it's too much mathematic persuasions. Yeah. A few years ago, I'll probably be in the back in the parking lot just blazing. Yeah. It's amazing. They say you gotta put all your pennies up for your saving. What you saving for? Yeah. Could've made more. Bonjour, mi amor, is what I told him, I showed him. It's easy, be careful when you hold them. I'm just trying to mold them. Yeah. Everything that glitters ain't gold. We be on the road. We be at the show like everything you told, it should be sold. Yeah. It's worth a whole lot. We talking about the value, the questions, the process, the how to. Yeah. I know it's feeling sour every hour. You gon' need to catch a grip. I'm the talcum powder. Yeah. You'll get devoured. Watch out for the vultures in the culture. Yeah. They just tryna undermine. Sometimes under my mind, I be feeling like the light shine. Yeah. And Godspeed to anyone who knows it, who shows it. You know where we at. We crazy and wild like the roses. Yeah. And hopefully they notice. Yeah. Trying to keep my focus. Trying to make sure I don't say nothing that's not bogus. They was trying to tell me that one day I will reappear like the locust. Deep as Egypt, we sip. Things that make us feel like we gon' need another zip. That's a whole bag, yeah. I should write an ad, yeah. Calling up my dad, yeah. Apologize for all the bad that we had, yeah. Yeah. We just kicking it in the moonlight. Blessing y'all like Gesundheit. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought we had 5 minutes 5 minutes ago.
I should have kept going, man.
Well,
You mentioned healing earlier, and I just want to know, like, if you could point to specific passages or symbols or themes that you feel like work that kind of power on people?
Well, I was hinting to, I mean, a part of healing is just breaking down one's own symbology, because trauma creates definitions, and usually it creates definitions from a limited place, or a place where that's not fully developed. So that's unfair to the being, actually. As far as the metaphor and the symbols, they can be applied by just learning, really just going into deeper into what things mean. So like if you like, man, I'm going into somewhere else. So whatever your habits are, your daily activities, they are symbolic of definitions of your reality. And by mere understanding how symbols work, because like this a chair, but that's that's everybody's definition. A king's definition of this is different than yours. A bum's definition is different. This is where to sleep. But a true definition of what this is how it functions. It's just here for support. So it's for support. So say like a traumatized kid that the mother was all jacked up, he may need to go back into those memories of where he was defining that chair that she was kicking his butt on and all that. He may need to figure out what support means and why she couldn't give him support. And that's a personal thing. That's a whole rabbit hole, but it can unlock doors for a different meaning and for another perspective, an honest one. Because the original, when you're dealing with trauma, the original trauma is not an honest perspective of the event or of oneself. So, but that's what the symbols do. That's why they put them in the scriptures and stuff, because you can change a story, but you cannot fundamentally change what the actual symbol means, which means that it can always be decoded properly. That's why you actually dream in symbols. That's another. You
got many layers.
Back
Billy
for that.
Easton.
That's my metaphysical side. Like,
You got many layers, Mr.
but the dream state is very important. Like symbols in general is very, very important.
All right, man. So think, people. He's making you think tonight. And that's a good thing. So, hey, I think that's our time for Moonlight tonight. Billy, thank you. It's
Thank
an
you,
incredible
guys.
interview. It's fun making some music with you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
I got to mention some important people for the Moon. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home, Jim and Terry Weldy, Ely Marshall and Barbara Wynn, Psi Iota Xi of Bremen, Indiana, and Marshall County Community Foundation. They all help this show happen and help us bring it to you. So thank you to them. I'm Ryan Mear John Bahler, Matt Scutchfield on the sound tonight, Jim Yocom up watching the cameras, Katy Smith helping out. Thank you, Billy. And that's it.
Maybe it seems like a deep dark night, but follow me outside.